Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark Lynn with Healthcare Business Specialists in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is going to be a quick update on provider relief funds. There was some new information that was published on December the 11th, 2020, and we're just going to try to do a short, maybe 10 or 15-minute webinar explaining what those changes are. This is my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. Also, Danny Gilbert is available as well if you have questions about this. And then here is what we do. So we won't spend a lot of time on this because we're trying to get this information to you very quickly. This information will be posted on our RHC information group. If you're not a member, please join. We're up to about 2,000 members. Also, it will be posted to our ruralhealthclinic.com website on the COVID-19 page. If you just go into resources, you will find that there. Disclaimer, as of today, as far as we know, this information is current. I am going to skip out of here and go to a document that I prepared today, and we'll be working from this. It is our provider relief expenses cheat sheet form as of December the 14th, 2020. It's about 11-page document. It's a pretty long cheat sheet, I guess. But what we did is we updated the information for you guys based upon the guidance that we received last week. You can see in this document here, it says Provider Relief Funds, Allowable Expenses Overview, December 11th, 2020. That's a brand new document that came out. On the next page, I will show you in detail what that document looks like. This PDF, when we post it to our website, you'll be able, if you click here, you'll be able to pull this document up as well. Let me see here. Also, there were some new FAQs that were put on the website as well. I think there's like 6 or 7 new ones added to the 22 FAQs about expenses. So we were really trying to define what our expenses are for our provider relief funds. That's what this document is all about. This is the document from HHS today. Ignore our logo on there, but this is exactly what it will look like. This is supposed to clarify what an expense is, because we've been getting this question. It seems like I've got at least 10 times this morning about what's an allowable expense. So when I was trying to determine what an allowable expense was, I stumbled upon this document this morning. So here is the listing. It's not an all-inclusive list, but it just gives you some examples of things that you could be spending money on. You know, supplies. We all know N95, surgical mask gowns, temperature monitoring devices, cleaning agents. All of that is just common sense that that's going to be an allowable expense. You're having to spend a lot more of your money towards those types of things than you ever have. Equipment, ventilators, negative pressure rooms, HVAC systems, improved filtration, infection control, laboratory equipment, diagnostic equipment, all that Abbott laboratory equipment that you guys have been buying with rapid tests and all that sort of things. Those are going to be allowable expenses for provider relief reimbursement. Information technology, your telehealth. I mean, now everybody's using telehealth. People are working remotely, and all of the equipment that you have to do to get your employees working remotely, all the software that you have to have. I know we invested in a very expensive system called Canopy, where it allows us to monitor workflows here with our company. And same thing with you guys. You have to have something like that that's going to be extremely expensive, that type of software and hardware that you need to get everybody working remotely. So this is a nice listing. It's a one-pager, makes it very simple. And then think about this, the bottom 2 questions here, what you need to ask yourself. Is the expense necessary and reasonable to support your patient care efforts to prevent, prepare for, prevent, or respond to coronavirus? If you can answer yes to that, then you've got an allowable expense for your provider relief funds. Is the expense incurred consistent with our organization policies and procedures? And really what you want to do is look very closely at your infection control policies and procedures and dig down, get into your processes, and make sure that what you're doing as far as spending money, supports those policies and procedures, because it's really all about infection control and stopping the spread of coronavirus until we can get the vaccine distributed and everybody, as many people as possible, have the vaccine. So the first day that people are actually getting pokes in the arm, as the British say. So it's a great day for everybody. This is the listing. It's from the there's a 6-pager dated November the 2nd. That's the final provider relief expense guidance. I don't really think it's going to be final, but that's what it says, final. And so this tells you what you can spend your money for. I won't go through reading that. This document has been out for a while, so you should have been able to see it already. The problem is when you dig down into it, what does this stuff really mean? And that's why the FAQs come in so handy. So on December 11th, they modified or added certain FAQs to their listing here. So let's go in and there's a link to the FAQs. I think it's on the first page. I put a link to it. If you go here, that will take you to the FAQs that I'm just showing you. I basically just copied them and put them in here. So use of funds. Are expenses related to securing, maintaining adequate personnel reimbursable? The answer, you can see most of these answers are yes. This is a good thing. So are outsourced third-party vendor services enable access to healthcare services reimbursable expenses? The answer is yes. This is the big one that I thought that was really sort of changed the game a little bit here. It was, can providers use provider relief fund payments to pay taxes? The answer is yes. And this is why I want to do this quick webinar, was because what that means is if you got $150,000 worth of provider relief funds and you're going to report that as taxable income, which you have to do, we could do is compute a percentage of taxes paid on that. If you're in the 30% tax bracket and you're going to pay, $45,000 of federal income taxes on that money, we can use that as a reimbursable item on our provider relief funds reports. So to me, that is a huge benefit of the provider relief funds, is yes, we're going to get taxed on these funds, but we can use those taxes to support us actually hanging on to these expenses. So that was the real key to this whole thing to me, was wanting to do this quick webinar for you guys and talk to your tax people about this and make sure that we're on the right page. Because like I said, we've just seen that this morning. It was added on Friday. So I think that's something big. This one here has been around for a while. It says it's modified. I've read it a couple of times trying to figure out where they exactly modified this example of allowable expenses, and I couldn't figure it out. But so that's your expenses. More of these on expenses, capital improvements. They've changed this capital expenditure FAQ several times over the last few months now, and so there's been a lot of arguing about that. As of right now, you can, where is there? There's one here. Here we go. These are the capital related expenses. If you're, in fact, I just talked to one of our nurse practitioners who's getting a mobile home to put COVID patients in. So things like that, retrofitting a COVID-19 unit, that sounds exactly like what they were talking about. Upgrade your heating and ventilation system. Negative pressure units come to mind there. Enhancing, reconfiguring your ICU, leasing, purchasing temporary structures. Those sort of things are allowable expenses if they're equipment related. Also, if you're having to buy ventilators, masks, shields, biohazard seats, all these things that will last, if they will last longer than 1 year, that should be capitalized, you can go ahead and expense those as a part of your provider relief funds as well. So here's something that it didn't really change on December 11th, but it just shows how you can use salaries and compensation. The key for our physician practices is if you have physicians or nurse practitioners who make over $197,300, you cannot use the portion that's over $197,300. as a part of your provider relief funds that you're asking for. Lost revenue calculations here. These are, again, they're 1028 versus 1211 changes. But what you want to do is the first step is to compute your expenses directly and attributable to COVID-19. The second step is if you use up all your provider relief funds in that stage, then you don't have to worry about lost revenue. But if you still have some funds left, you can go into this lost revenue calculation. And we've been doing it for people just to see what our loss, because what we've been finding out is we haven't had a whole lot of expenses. And so we've just sort of jumped to the first stage and went to step 2 just to see what our lost revenue was looking like. And so we've done a couple of these, and we're showing you an example of one right here. What we did was we took the 2019 quarterly reports. I'm sorry, I'm making you sick by moving this thing around here. Quarterly profit and loss summary. If you have QuickBooks, if you'll run off that report for 2019 and 2020, what we did from that was we took the net patient revenue by quarter and compared that from 2019 to 2020 to see what type of lost revenue happened. And so what I did after I did that was I created an invoice for the clinic where you could go in and, based upon the lost revenue calculation for 2019, 2020, you can see the top row here is 2019 numbers. Those numbers are higher than our 2020 numbers because our net patient revenue went down. So in this case, our lost revenue was $56,907. They're hard to read. It was a total of $137,000 through the first 3 quarters of the year. So we're going to take that $133,740 and we're going to pull that out of the bank account that we have sitting there with all the provider relief funds in it and count that as lost revenue, put that into our operating account, and then spend that like we normally would. Most of you guys have been sitting on that cash this whole year and not spending it, but we only have until June 30th of next year to expend these funds and count it. So that's what we've been doing for some of our clients to help them to draw this money down. If you do have QuickBooks, it's really, really simple. If you're one of our RHC cost report clients and we do a full cost report for you, we'd be glad to do that just as a part of our cost reporting service. If you don't have a full cost report, or you only have what's called a low utilization or no utilization, then we can't do it for no charge because we don't charge enough during the year on those to add on. It takes about an hour to do that. My hourly rate's $300 an hour, and so we would charge $300 for you guys to have a no load or low utilization cost report, or we don't prepare your cost report for you. But what you need to do is send us your quarterly. If you have QuickBooks, like I said, run off that report, the quarterly profit and loss summary report for 2019 and 2020, and we would be able to compute that for the most part from that. We may have to ask you a few questions, but that's really all I wanted to go over. I think the exciting news is that taxes are an allowable expense. That was something that I wasn't expecting to see. And thank you guys very much for listening. Be safe. We are getting out our cost report agreements to you. If we're not preparing a cost report for you, let us know. We'll be glad to add you to the list and send out an agreement, send out a HIPAA business associate agreement. And be safe out there. I know it's been very scary for everybody. We certainly appreciate and thank you for what you guys are doing. It's been amazing. You are truly our superheroes. Thank you very much.